Hey, I'm excited to be here today with Wade Millward, the CEO and founder of Rikor Insurance, the fastest growing insurance provider for both franchisors and franchisees. And I want to talk to you today about why.
Yeah, absolutely appreciate that. So maybe back up a little bit and talk about kind of why we started the company in the first place.
Sure.
I had been in the insurance industry for a long time, and I had a franchisee approach me about some problems that they were experiencing, and we came up with a solution. And as we started to go to the market to understand the existing problems, we found that really all of the franchisors that we spoke to had the exact same problem in their business. And it was a lack of transparency, visibility into insurance compliance across the entire franchise brand.
Right.
Super, super difficult. And the reason that's so important is because franchisors are liable for all of the operations of the franchisees. Now, even though the franchisees have their own tax ID number and their own entity and their own operator and all that kind of stuff, at the end of the day, it's the franchise's brand that's out there. And so the reputation can be damaged. They can be brought into unintentional exposure that they did not anticipate. And so it's super, super important that all the franchisees have the correct insurance in place all the time throughout the entire year to protect the brand.
I'm not sure I've shared this with you, but I was a franchisor previously. You know that. And it was a nutrition franchise. And we had a franchisee sampling products without the appropriate label, right? They would take it out of the bottle and sample it that way. Somebody didn't feel well on one of the products, went after the franchisee who did not have the proper coverage, so therefore came after us.
Yes.
So I firsthand know exactly the problem you're trying to solve. So let's talk about how you do that. How do you solve it for franchisors?
Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, franchisors lack visibility. So what does that mean? How do we actually figure out or get transparency into the insurance of the existing franchisees? So we developed software that we offer to the franchisors. This software monitors the insurance across the entire franchise system or the platform. And it gives them a visibility into all the different required coverages like general liability and workers' compensation and commercial auto and medical malpractice. And I could go on forever. It's all of them. And they have access to that information on our site, on our platform. They have access to the portal with all the analytics, giving an average compliance score for the entire franchise brand or an average compliance score per franchisee. But this is stuff that all the franchises that we've spoken to haven't implemented yet.
Right. And you, if I remember correctly, you will also audit the language in the FDD to be sure franchisees know exactly what is expected, right?
Yeah, it was an interesting process to go through. We were talking and engaging with all these different franchisors early on, and I realized really quickly not realize this part, but there is a contractual obligation or agreement, obviously, between a franchisor and franchisee within the FDD. And that really establishes the guidelines of what the franchisees are required to purchase, right? The insurance requirements are in there. And what I learned, I actually made an incorrect assumption early on. I thought that it was just going to be done and dialed in. 99% of these FDDs that we analyze are completely off, completely wrong. And so we do an assessment of the actual brand. We understand the exposure and the risk that the franchisor has. And then we actually offer an FDD insurance analysis. It's a 30+ page report now. It goes into a deep dive. We actually work with their either in-house legal or outside counsel to make sure that we update the FDD at renewal, modify the operations manual, modify the franchise agreement. We get everything dialed in because that's where it all starts. And then after that's done, we update it into the software. And then the easy part is monitoring. But we got to get the kind of re-steer the ship, if you will, in the right direction.
All right. Makes perfect sense. So I'm a franchisor. You reframe my FDD to be sure it's accurate. You protect my liability by ensuring our franchisees are always compliant, and then I have visibility through a portal to see where everybody stands.
Yes.
Okay, let's shift over to the franchisees now. So talk to me about how does it work for them? What's the benefit for them?
We learned early on that not only are the franchisors, not only do the franchisors have a problem with lacking visibility into insurance compliance, but a lot of the brands that we partnered up with are in this kind of hyper growth mode. And so they have a problem with vendors that cannot scale with them. And so we started creating systems and processes around giving us the ability to be able to scale with them and improving the franchisee onboarding experience. Insurance, I often talk about, as a byproduct of all the other stuff that we do, the value add, the services that we offer to both franchisors and franchisees. At the end of the day, the franchisee has to purchase insurance. We want to prevent them from not being able to open the doors. We want to make sure that they open the doors as fast as possible for new franchisees so they can get revenue going as quickly as possible. So we partner with the franchisors. We embed ourselves within the onboarding experience for franchisees. We make it super, super simple for franchisees to purchase the insurance they need, that meet all the insurance requirements. It goes directly into the portal. That way the franchisor has access to it and notifies them now. So really the idea is a frictionless experience for franchisees in purchasing the coverage.
That makes perfect sense. And I'm sure you get the question all the time, how does that then relate in price? If somebody were to go try to find their own agent versus using Rikor, how does that usually shake out with price?
Well, that's the thing is like, again, the insurance is a byproduct. Insurance and pricing is going to be relatively the same across the board. And so I won't guarantee that we're going to be a low price leader. What I do try to guarantee is that we're going to be providing the coverage that they need to protect their investment. Like people have to realize that insurance is a tool to be able to finance your risk. The risk you're taking is hundreds of thousands of dollars investing into a franchise brand. To save yourself $1,000 a year on insurance it's a waste of money because your insurance could be done incorrectly.
Right.
So, and all too often we're finding exclusions in insurance policies because, it was cheaper for my buddy at State Farm or something, not to bag on State Farm, but we're seeing it all the time.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful. A lot of franchisees are new business owners, which is great. So we want to educate them as well. So part of our process is, hey, we do a discovery call, we do a presentation call, we walk them through a workflow, and then we also educate them throughout that entire process.
Well, I appreciate you being here, and I'm a believer in this.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that any franchisor that tries to do it without an organization like Rikor, who first starts at the franchisor level, is foolish for doing it that way. There's too much liability. There's too much exposure. You have to partner with an organization that understands the needs of the franchisor first and then covers their compliance through franchisee insurance. So appreciate you being here. You're doing a great job at helping us with our mission of helping franchisees and franchisors reduce their risk within franchising. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Appreciate it.